Well, Buddha was an extraordinarily flexible teacher, and he understood, therefore, that people have different situations, different home situations, whether they are people with families, or people with jobs, or in fact full-time religious practitioners, such as monks and nuns. So the way in which one follows the Buddhist teachings, the routine one makes out of that, will differ according to one's circumstances. Also according to one's knowledge of Buddhism, how much one has been able to study in one's life and how many teachings one has received. So one cannot specify one particular routine, one particular amount of study and practice. But I think there are some kind of guidelines nevertheless. One thing is that if we want to really soften our heart, as we need to do in Dharma, so that it is a place where compassion, love and compassion can grow, and if we want to transform our perception of the world, as we do, then we need to develop a kind of regular relationship with spiritual practice, with Dharma practice. It can't be something that's hit and miss, that's every now and then, because our habits of self-centeredness and self-clinging are extremely tenacious, after all. We Buddhists think they've been there since beginningless time. So it needs a great effort to undo the knots of self-centeredness and self-clinging. And therefore it's an effort that must be persistent. One great master, Sakyapananda, said, in terms of how do we become learned, he said, just as a great pitcher of water becomes full by successive drops, so by learning a verse, so to speak, every day, we will eventually become learned. Now, we don't have to take that too literally, but the sense is this: the regular daily practice and study, even if it's not a great deal initially in terms of time, is extremely powerful and will really help us to embark properly on the path, so that we'll start to see that softening of our self-centeredness and that opening of our heart actually occurring in life if we make regular practice. So what I'd say is that one should think of setting aside some time every day for regular meditation practice, the cultivation of attentiveness, of awareness, however we've been taught by our master, and also in parallel with that, in tandem with that, a little time for studying the teachings that we've received. The teachings are like the map book. The practice of meditation is like the actual travel. The map book informs the travel. Without the map book, however, we will get lost. From the experience of traveling the path in meditation, we then look to the teachings again for further understanding. So it's a kind of feedback relationship between practice and study, and therefore we should try to dedicate some time every day, if possible, to both of those exercises. So for the beginner, it's often said, practice meditation frequently but in short sessions, because for beginners it's quite easy for the mind to become tired and strained if one attempts to sit or in meditation or to study too long. So keep the practice short, so that your mind is fresh and not strained and not contrived in the practice. And again, also with the study, rather than trying to study in massive amounts, better to study a little bit every day. Of course, as one becomes more experienced in Dharma, and also one's life situation may change, one can dedicate much more time. Finally, one can even go into retreats when one is practicing many hours of practice a day. But in everyday life, in ordinary life, the essential accent in terms of routine must be make it regular. And then I'd say another thing. Just setting aside time for daily practice and study, though excellent, isn't still quite enough. Because what about all that time between sessions of formal practice, whether we're doing one session or 2 sessions a day? Because the mind is there all the time, and it's training the mind, which is what we're engaged in Dharma. But if we let the mind run away in between sessions, let our habits of self-centeredness and self-clinging, of distraction, of grasping, of kind of prejudice, negativity, if we let those come back, steaming back into our lives, the moment we get up from our meditation cushion, we're not really making any progress. So what's necessary there is the habit of recollection, of bringing our mind back to the present moment in whichever way we can throughout the day. For instance, in between every discrete activity, whether it's in work or at home, pause. Bring the mind back to the present moment, to the attempt to this moment, so that we are in a way making a connection with the thread of practice that we started off in our formal meditation session. So that mindfulness or recollectingness between sessions is also a vital part of the Buddhist routine. So to summarize it, if we really want to travel the path effectively, we need to set aside a little time every day for meditation and study. That may lengthen as we become more experienced, but alongside it, what's absolutely vital is this habit of recollectedness.